Have you ever banged your elbow, stubbed your toe, burned a finger on a hot stove, and just said, "Ow, I wish I wouldn't have done that. That hurt so much. I wish I wouldn't feel that pain." Well, if you want to learn a little bit about a world with no pain, stay tuned to this episode of Mysteries Mysteries. I am Mr. E, and this is all things mysterious in the world of psychology. There's a young lady by the name of Gabby Gingras. She's from Minnesota. She's now in her 20s, but she had an incredibly unique disease. And it was called CIPA, which is congenital insensitivity to pain with anhidrosis. Long story short, she couldn't feel pain. Many of us have probably thought, God, I wish that would be a superpower, right? A superpower to feel no pain. I could lift cars off of people that are trapped under them. I could lift giant buildings and I would feel no pain, and all that stuff would be super cool, right? Well, if you talk to Gabby about this, I'm sure she would say that that's not the case. So Gabby's parents didn't know that she had this insensitivity to pain. And when she was little, these were some of the things that she would do. So mind you, she had no response to pain. She's a little baby, an infant, toddler, with no physical response to pain. So when you and I rub our eyes, as soon as we're about to rub our eyes, we shut our eyelid and rub. Abby never learned that it hurt to poke yourself in the eye. So when she was a baby and she was rubbing her eyes, she would rub her eyes with her eyes open, ultimately destroying her cornea, which is the barrier that protects our eyes from all things. And she wouldn't feel the pain. So she ended up destroying one eye completely and then severely damaging the other. Another scenario that you all have experienced, I'm sure, and it just hurts so much when we take a bite out of something and we bite that side of our tongue and we're like, God, that hurts so much. And then I don't know why, but from that point forward, we continue to bite that part of our tongue. And it hurts and it hurts and we keep doing it because it's sticking out, because it's all swollen and it's driving us crazy, right? And we're like, God, I wish I didn't feel that, right? Well, Gabby would bite her tongue and couldn't feel it. So what she would do is she would gnaw on her tongue until her tongue was pretty much destroyed. So those are just two examples. She would run into tables. She could not learn what pain was, so she could not stop physically destroying her body. I would say hurting herself, but it didn't hurt her because she didn't feel anything. So she could have broken bones and she wouldn't feel it. Okay. She could have a huge gash on her thigh that's bleeding. And unless she saw it, she wouldn't feel it. And so she was just destroying her body. Now, lucky enough, the older she got, the more she could cognitively be taught and trained how to protect herself. So what they did is they put goggles on her eyes to protect her eyes when she was little. And then they taught her about, what it is to hurt yourself. So if she would run into a table, her parents would say, even though you don't feel it, say, ow. So then mommy and daddy can check to see if you're okay. So she would slowly get trained all of these things. There are stories about children with this grabbing hot dishes, pots and pans, and not feeling it until they looked at their hands, and their hands would have all of these burns on them, and they would have no physiological response, but like, oh, mom, I think I just did something here that I probably shouldn't have done. So pain is really the ultimate teacher. It teaches us so many things that we're supposed to do to help protect our body that pain is incredibly, incredibly necessary. And with Gabby and several other young people in the world, they don't have that response. And living in a world without pain can be incredibly, incredibly dangerous. What I want to do now is I just want to talk about briefly how we experience pain, how normal people feel pain. So when we do certain things, let's say we bang our elbow on the table, okay? What that does is that sends messages through our sensory neurons up our arm to our spinal cord. And there are small nerve fibers that are processing this. And these small nerve fibers open up, theoretically, something called the pain gate. And this is called the pain gate theory. When the pain gate opens up, messages are sent to our brain, and our brain interprets that message as pain. So now we can recognize that as pain. Now, in Gabby's case, is she lacking the receptors? It's a big question mark, because here's a situation. We have pain receptors. We have pressure receptors. We have warm and cold receptors. But besides pressure receptors, a lot of these receptors do all of the same things. So they don't know if it's the receptor issue or if it's the sensory neuron issue or what the deal is in processing pain. So it's a big question mark. But in the normal person, you would hit these affector cells, sensory neurons would send the message to our spinal cord, small nerve fibers would open up, pain message would be sent, and we would experience pain. Once we do that, most of us would do this. Besides saying ow, owie, or throwing out a few profanities, not that I would ever do anything like that, just ask my wife. We would send messages down our spinal cord through our motor neurons to this arm. And what this arm would do is this arm would rub the elbow. And I bet you've never thought about this. Why would an elbow rub exactly where we banged our elbow? Why would that get rid of the pain? When we rub the elbow, put pressure on it, rub like this, messages get sent through the sensory neurons, triggering large nerve fibers to kind of shut those small nerve fibers up. It closes the pain gate. The message being sent to our brain now is a pressure message and not a pain message. So in fact, by rubbing your elbow, you are shutting your pain gate. Another example of this, and this is really unique, most of us realize that if you sprain your ankle, that pain message gets sent up our leg through our sensory neurons to our spinal cord, triggering these small nerve fibers to send wicked pain messages to our brain. And we're like, that really, really hurts. So we sit down and we're told to put ice on it, right? 20 minutes of ice on, no ice for 40 minutes, 20 minutes on, 40 minutes off. And we're always told that that reduces swelling, which is 100% true. But the other piece of that is so unique is that when we put that ice on our ankle, it also triggers these messages to be sent up to our spinal cord, to these large nerve fibers, right, that shut the pain gate and decreases the amount of pain that we're in. So not only does it decrease swelling, but it helps to alleviate pain by closing that pain gate at least slightly by triggering these large nerve fibers. So when we're dealing with pain, small nerve fibers are what trigger that pain message to our brain. Large nerve fibers that are triggered through rubbing, through ice, massaging, those types of things, those help to shut the pain gate. And those things work together to both, the pain helps to protect us from doing it again, while the rubbing helps us to alleviate some of that pain. Now, we could get into, what happens when the pain is so extreme that we go into shock. We could talk more about endorphins and their role in pain relief. All of those things we can definitely save for other podcasts. But that is, in a nutshell, what it's like to feel no pain and why pain is so important and how we manage that pain in a very brief 10-minute podcast. So I hope you enjoyed this. I absolutely love this stuff. If you love it too, make sure you subscribe to us on Spotify or Apple, anywhere that you can find podcasts. Check out our YouTube reels. Check us out on all things social media. A big thank you to Bear Wade and Unify Agency for all things that he does. If you are an influencer, if you want to become an influencer, if you want to start a podcast, you need to get in touch with this guy. He is a stud. Just ask his wife. Again, thank you all for everything. You have a great day. Peace.